Sharon was always scaring her little sister Nora with different stories about monsters. One night Sharon purposely lost track going home and made sure they ended up having to walk through the graveyard. When they were walking through the graveyard, Sharon was telling one of her fabricated stories to frighten Nora. She was telling her about a monster that haunted the graveyard they had to walk through, and that the monster always made its victims get lost before they ended up in the graveyard. Nora was crying over one of her stories one day, and her mom was mad at Sharon and said angrily, "Sharon, don't be frightening your little sister. You're meant to be nice to her and care for her, not scare the living daylights out of her with one of your silly stories." It was Halloween night when Sharon got a piece of her own medicine. She walked into a room and saw a monster floating in the air, and she knew it was no costume, and it definitely was no trick. She froze and then ran telling her mom and dad. Her dad, of course, didn't believe her, because all the stories she always makes up about monsters. Then her mom walked into the room, and what happened next made Sharon freeze in fear, and is what made this Halloween her scariest Halloween ever. Her both parents turned into monsters right in front of her eyes, and they turned back to like they were before. She was speechless. Her dad said, "Sharon, your little sister isn't ready to know the truth yet, but for some reason since we came to Earth, you always were curious about monsters. We are viewed as monsters by humans, so we have to keep it a secret, but I'm hoping your obsession with monsters will end now that you know the truth, and nature will teach you how to deal with how unique you are. We don't know anyone else like us, but we came from another planet." With that, Sharon woke up sweating, thanking God it was just a dream. It seemed so real. She promised herself she would never ever tell another stupid made-up story about a monster ever again to her little sister, and to anyone for that matter. Suddenly her sister walked into the room and had a story that was a monster story, and one that was true, and one that frightened Sharon to the core. And it ended with Nora saying, "I'm not afraid of monsters anymore, Sharon, because all our family are monsters." And with that, Nora changed into a monster. Thanks for watching The Assassin Rapper, and if you want to stay up to date on new content, then please subscribe and be sure to hit the bell to be notified on new content.